Getting into chapter 257 of Jujutsu Kaisen, all I can say is this chapter has quite possibly the most insane reveal we've had in the entire series. And it certainly proves multiple theories right, particularly about Yuji's heritage and his connection to Sukuna. But I won't waste any more time, so here we go. Chapter 257 starts off with a flashback that's labelled as a tale from Sukuna himself. The flashback takes place before Sukuna's battle with Gojo, where he's patiently waiting in a building with Uraume. Uraume asks Sukuna what exactly is Yuji, and he replies simply that he's Kenjaku's son, although from which body he doesn't know. Which we kind of already knew about, but this is where it gets interesting. Uraume then states that they felt something deeply reminiscent of Sukuna himself within Yuji. They continue to reveal that it's not simply leftover dregs of power from a finger, but instead a husk that is retaining elements from him, but Sukuna just retorts to go ask Kenjaku for those details. However, he also speculates that the one Kenjaku coupled up with was likely a fragment of himself reincarnated, and that his and Yuji's souls are the same. Uraume questions this, and Sukuna himself confirms a series-long mystery that he was expected to be a twin, but he rejected such a fate. And forced by his own mother, he consumed his twin on the brink of starvation, and the twin soul bounced around aimlessly until it eventually fell into Kenjaku's hands. Sukuna then just yawns, reminding Uraume that they know all about this, but also reveals that Yuji was specifically being bred to be a player in the culling games, as well as being a strong vessel for his fingers. Uraume ponders on this for a moment, and before we return to the fight, they think to themselves if this means Yuji Itadori has latent potential that could equal even Sukuna's power, and there it is, the massive moment that confirms several series-running theories. This means that Yuji's family are likely descendants from that specific fragment of Sukuna being his twin, or the fragment was passed down for generations in the family before Kenjaku took backshots from Yuji's father and then passed it on to Yuji. This gives a whole new meaning to when Yuji's grandfather was going to tell him about his family before he died, but was stopped short. He probably wanted to tell him about Kenjaku as well and his purpose, but all he could do to ensure Yuji wouldn't turn evil was to beg him to help others. Since Yuji eating Sukuna's finger was planned from the start, Kenjaku also must have known that he was going to try and stop Sukuna, and Kenjaku did also say that he expects great things from Yuji, so this has the potential to completely change the true nature of Kenjaku's plan. But getting back into the fight, Yuji stands defiant, ready to strike Sukuna at any moment. And Sukuna as well returns form, and they stand off from each other ready to attack, also quite reminiscent of the Raid 2. Suddenly they lunge at each other, with Sukuna going in for a slice and Yuji pulling down his fist before parrying Sukuna's attack and landing another black flash directly into Sukuna's chest. Sukuna seems to try and move Yuji's arm out of the way, but Yuji isn't finished and seems to shoulder barge yet another black flash on Sukuna. Or Sukuna lands a quick black flash hit on Yuji and he's guarding against it. I'm not exactly too sure, but that also kind of makes sense because Yuji is sent flying from it a little bit later. But anyway, they stare at each other glistening with black sparks and they just look so cool, calm, and in the zone against each other. My boy Yuji is climbing up the power ladder quicker than anyone in the series. And like I said previously, Yuji flies back crashing through a banister and off the mezzanine level into an open space. But this next bit confirms a very important part of Yuji's power. You remember when Gojo said that eventually Sukuna's technique will be burned into Yuji? Well, Gege didn't forget that, and he finally brought it out. Yuji grabs onto a pillar and we see two dotted scissor lines that encircle it, and even Sukuna himself thinks that he can in fact use it. The narrator then jumps in saying that there are two curse techniques residing inside Yuji. The first is blood manipulation, engraved by absorbing cursed wounds numbered 4 to 9. And the second, achieved through awakening by Black Flash, is the technique engraved upon the body of Sukuna himself, labeled as Shrine. And that's not just cleave and dismantle, but just Shrine, telling us that there is more to his power than just his slashes. Yuji breaks off the chunk of pillar he had sliced, throwing it directly at Sukuna, who uses his absolute grippers
Put those grippers away!
in order to slice through the pillar, but Yuji has already grabbed onto Sukuna's leg. We then also see more of those scissor lines on Sukuna's leg, and this could tell us two things. That this is what Yuji has to create in order to conjure his cleave, as well as touching his target. Or it's a way for Gege to make it easier for the readers to see when Yuji is activating the slices in comparison to Sukuna, because at the end of the day, we don't know if Sukuna can actually see these scissor markings. Yuji also prepares a punch, and Sukuna sends some slashes flying, which slices through Yuji, but it doesn't stop him as he lands yet another black flash hit on Sukuna while slicing open his foot. Sukuna then thinks to himself that it may be the same technique as his, but the difference in Error and Sorcerer brings a sizable difference to the technique. He also notes that the technique being freshly learned means a low output, but what's more troublesome is the black flash blows, which are continually hurting him. But in amongst this, we suddenly get a random flashback where Ino is asking Gojo and several others if he can use Nanami's cursed tool in the coming fight. They of course agree casually, which surprises Ino, but Gojo continues to state that he means it. Nanami trusted Ino more than anyone else, and from this, we see him activate his fourth auspicious beast power, Ryu. The beast lunges for Sukuna, which also seems to surprise him and crashes into him, sending him flying into a nearby wall. However, the beast is unfortunately quickly destroyed, and Ino tries to go in for a hit with Nanami's weapon, but is immediately caught by Sukuna's almost healed foot. Sukuna looks at him really unimpressed, and Ino prepares for his death, but this distraction was enough for Yuji to get in behind Sukuna and land yet another black flash hit. Sukuna is now well annoyed, wondering how Yuji is able to chain black flash hits like it's nothing, as well as questioning if Yuji is trying to climb up to his level. The power of the blow destroys the glass behind them, while Ino lies on the floor apologizing to Nanami that this is way out of his league since another beast of his has been killed. And after this, Sukuna slams his hand into the ground, activating Cleave, breaking apart the floor below them and destroying Yuji's footing. Sukuna then goes in for a punch, but Yuji grapples his hand and punches Sukuna out of the way, sending him further back into a wall behind them. And now Sukuna seems to be getting more and more aggravated, complaining that Yuji is completely unfazed by his combination of strikes and slashes. While we see this absolutely terrifying in the zone Yuji, who lands another beastly black flash again on Sukuna. What is this, like the 6th or 7th one now? Far outpassing Gojo and Nanami. But Sukuna just grabs Yuji's face and lets Cleave off instantly, which was so powerful it destroyed the ground below. But Yuji, with now half of his face missing, winds up yet another black flash hit that hits Sukuna directly in the face. Sukuna, now in a fit of rage, shouts at Yuji, desperately swearing at him, but before he can finish, Nanami's cursed tool hits him in the face and bounces off. And while water seems to be spraying down on top of them, Ino begs Yuji to kick his ass, and Yuji stands there preparing another strike. And he lands it, a hard uppercut right in Sukuna's side. But unfortunately, the chapter ends there with a little hopeful note asking Yuji to not just rival the king, but surpass him. And this whole sequence is kind of a mirror to the battle in Shibuya, where Yuji landed a black flash hit on Mahito, and I mean, it's almost identical. You have the water pouring down around them, similar in both arcs, and also the final distraction from Ino resembling Todo's distraction, as well as the similar stance and the black flash hit that wins the day. Although, unfortunately, we know that Sukuna will survive this, but I can tell we're nearing the end now of the series. More and more information is being revealed each chapter that is answering a lot of unanswered questions, and it shows that it's slowly being wrapped up. But with that out of the way, there's a few things I want to talk about. Honestly, Black Flash is like the secret sauce of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's the one ingredient in a recipe that makes the dish fantastic, unlocking all kinds of secret new tastes. And this is no exception. You have low curse energy output? Well, just do some Black Flashes and you'll be fine. You have a secret technique that you haven't unlocked? Oh, that's right, just do a Black Flash and you can access it. It's crazy how this one move that's so hard to do can unlock everything you need. It's a little bit like a Hail Mary, Deus Ex Machina kind of power, but I can't complain because Yuji has Sukuna's Shrine Curse technique, which is just absolutely fantastic, and you know they're just going to destroy each other in the coming chapters, including maybe a domain? I think I'm getting ahead of myself there. It is a new technique for Yuji, but we'll just have to wait and see. With Yuji now awakening using Black Flash after Black Flash hit, I wonder how far Yuji is going to push his knowledge of cursed energy, until Sukuna can't keep up anymore. Maybe he'll become incredibly proficient with his use of Shrine, or it will be a battle of attrition. We'll just have to wait and see. It's now coming to the end of the video, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy you stopped by. My channel is steadily growing, and I'm amazed at the support I'm getting. And I also have a Patreon now, so feel free to support me however you like. The link will be in the description, and I will shout out names at the end of each video. Thank you again, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.